Hello everyone, so I'm Denise and I'm here in my happy place. This is the MIDRAND Cookery School kitchen and I'm planning to do a few online videos so that you at home in your own kitchen can do a bit of baking with confidence. So the first video I'm doing today is a black forest cake and I'm going to do it really step by step for you to watch. Now this is what it's going to look like when you finish, so I'm just going to show you that close up and hoping that inspires you to make this at home. The first thing you do when you're baking is put the oven on. For this recipe we need the oven on 180 degrees Celsius. There's a light there that shows that I've put the oven on, and when that light goes off, my oven is ready for the cake batter. And you must put your oven on before you put your cake batter in. You can't put it into a cold oven. The next thing we do is prepare the cake tins. For this recipe I'm using 2 round cake tins. They're about 20 centimeter in diameter. I've sprayed them with a non-stick spray, lined them with baking paper and then dusted them with flour. So this one has already been done. I'm just going to show you close up what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. This one hasn't been dusted with cake flour. So you take a little bit of cake flour, put it in the pan and just dust it around, shake it around just to cover the whole surface with the cake flour. Right. So our cake tins are prepared. So the batter for this cake I'm going to mix in 2 separate bowls to begin with. The first bowl is for the dry ingredients. So I'm using 2 cups of cake flour for this, or 500 milliliter. So this measurement of mine is a 250 milliliter cup, and I'm going to just measure that with a level scoop. It is quite important to measure your ingredients for a cake accurately. And then 1 cup or 250 ml of caster sugar. Okay, and then I'm using 5 milliliter baking powder. So this measurement of mine is a 5 milliliter measurement. 5 milliliter baking powder and 10 milliliters of bicarbonate of soda and 45 milliliters of cocoa and a pinch of salts. So those are my dry ingredients. Then the moist ingredients in a separate bowl, and the moist ingredients for this recipe is 125 milliliters of cooking oil, or half a cup, and 2 eggs, 180 milliliters of buttermilk, and if you don't have buttermilk you can also use plain yogurt, and in the old-fashioned measurements that's a 3/4 cup, and then 1 cup of strong black coffee, but it must be cooled down before you add it, otherwise your eggs will curdle. Right. So we've got the dry ingredients and we've got the moist ingredients mixed together, and now you can add the 2 together. So I'm just going to add the dry ingredients to this bowl with the moist ingredients, and then using a whisk I'm just going to combine these 2 together. It doesn't need a fancy mixer. You can use an electric handheld mixer if you want, but a whisk like this is fine. You just need to mix it very well to get rid of some of those lumps in there. Just a good stir until you feel happy that all these have combined nicely. So if you have a look close by, there you can see the nice batter. So this is your cake batter, and it's ready now to be put into your prepared cake tins. So the batter is ready, the cake tins are ready. I've got them onto a baking tray, It's just easier to handle when you put it in the oven. So I'm going to divide this batter between the two cake pans. And use a spatula that just makes sure you get all the batter out so that there's no waste. I think that's about equal amounts in each cake tin. Sorry, I go off the screen because I don't have a videographer. But my oven's ready, the light's off, and I'm going to pop that in the oven. And the time for this is 30 to 35 minutes. I have a timer on my oven, so I'm going to put that on 30 minutes and check. So after 30 minutes, I'm going to check. If I'm happy, it should be done. If not, you can always leave it a little bit longer. I've just had a lovely cup of tea and the oven buzzer has just gone off, so that means the cake is ready. Let's have a look. So excited to see what this is going to look like. Oh yes, look at that. Wow, amazing. So we're just going to let this cool off. Then I'm going to turn them out onto some cooling racks, wait for them to cool, and then we can finish it off. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to prepare the filling. So now you can just turn these cakes out onto these cooling racks. So it's just a nice round cooling rack. Turn it out onto there. And we'll let them cool off, and once they've cooled off we can peel off the paper so that it's ready for the filling. Part of the filling for this Black Forest cake is the black cherry compote. So I had to Google that word because I never knew how to say it. I've seen it on paper but I didn't know how to say it. So it's compote. I've drained the can of black cherries. You can always keep draining it. It gives you about 200 milliliters, and I'm taking some of that cold liquid from the can and I'm going to dissolve 20 milliliters of corn flour in that cold liquid. Just stir it well until it just doesn't really make lumps in that. You just need to stir it to dissolve it in this cold liquid. And then you add it to the liquid that you've taken from the can, and then you just need to cook this for a while. And I just cook it in the microwave. It just takes about 5 minutes for that. You do need to stir it every now and again, but it doesn't take long. Okay, so actually 2 minutes was perfect. So it gets nice and thick and bubbly. And now we just need to let it cool down before we can actually use it as a filling for the cake. So for the filling, I'm using 1 cup of cream and a half a cup of icing sugar. And I'm just going to whip that together with an electric mixer. Just until it is nice and firm. Right, so it just needs to be firm enough to hold its shape. And now it is ready for the cake. Then the rest of the filling ingredients is the compote that we made. Right now nice and cold. And now you can just add the cherries from the tin. We'll give that a good mix before we add it. And then a slab of dark chocolates that go around, which I've grated on the big side of the grater, and nice, it makes nice little twirly things when you grate it. And those are our 3 ingredients that we're going to use for the filling. So once the cakes have cooled down, you can pull pull the paper off, it really does come off very easily because you have prepared your pan so well and you've sprayed it so well. And now they are ready to be iced. Now we are ready to finish this cake off. Turn the cake over onto its flat side on a nice cake stand, and now we're going to take about half of this cream and spread that on to the cake. Maybe that wasn't a half, a little bit more over there. Now, and I've mixed the compote and the black cherries. That can go on a layer, also about half of them. Spread that across. And then some of your grated chocolate. And the final layer on top. And you can just squash this a little bit so that the cream pops out the side. And then the rest of the cream, you can always pipe this on with a piping bag and a nozzle, but I kind of like this artisan look where you've just done this whole nice fresh look. Right, and then some of the chocolate, let's just do that. Can be a little bit messy on the side of the plate. And finally, you can just load up all these cherries with the compote that you've mixed. Wow, now that looks amazing. Enjoy, guys. I hope you're inspired to make this at home.